Hi, I'm Mary Jane Toth. I want to thank you for joining us today as we work through another recipe from my book, A Cheesemaker's Journey. Hello everyone, and welcome to my kitchen. I'm Mary Jane Toth, author of A Cheesemaker's Journey. Today I want to teach you how to make mozzarella cheese. It's fun, versatile, delicious, and so easy anyone can learn to make this cheese. And in fact, in my book, it's a 2 out of 5 on the easy scale. For mozzarella, you will need the following equipment and ingredients. This is a cheese vat, which is basically a stainless steel pot, a double boiler type system. Do not use aluminum to make your cheese. The reason that you need to use a double boiler type system is because if you put your milk on direct heat, it tends to scorch. You will also need to have a colander, and this is just another pan to catch the whey as we drain the curds. Now, you're going to need a cheese knife or a curd cutting knife. That can be any knife that can reach to the bottom of the pot. You will need a spoon for working the curds. This is a cheese skimmer, which allows us to bring the curds up and see all the curds and be able to make sure that we have them evenly cooked and cut. You'll need some measuring spoons, some measuring cups, a plate that is microwave safe so that we can work the curds, a thermometer that can register from 0 to 200. This is a regular cheese making thermometer. Also, you will need to get some good quality cheesecloth. This is not what you buy in the grocery store. Do not try to use cheesecloth that you bought in a local grocery store because it's really not cheesecloth used for cheese making. It's really for varnishing and dusting. You'll see this is a fine quality grade muslin. It can be washed, bleached, and reused many, many times. You'll also need a timer to help you keep track of things. Now for the ingredients. You will need some cheese salt. This is just a fine grade salt. If you don't have cheese salt, any kind of non-iodized salt will work. If you try to use salt with iodine, you will have green cheese, so avoid that at all costs. Citric acid powder. This is what will give mozzarella the beautiful stretch. Mozzarella is a highly acidic cheese, and without citric acid powder, it will not have that stretch. You also need rennet. This is liquid, a vegetarian type rennet. You can use tablet rennet, but do not use junket rennet from the grocery store. It is not a cheesemaker's quality rennet, and you will have inconsistent results. Water. You will need to make sure that you have a source for non-chlorinated water. If you're using well water, that's just fine. If you live in the city and the water is chlorinated, you will have to use bottled water. Now the milk. Use any kind of milk that you can find. You can use sheep milk, goat milk, cow's milk. This is actually from the local grocery store. So it's pretty versatile. You can use any kind of milk, it will work, and you'll still have great mozzarella cheese. Now that I've added my 2 gallons of whole milk to the pot, we're going to stir up the citric acid powder that we need to add to the cooled milk. For this, you will need a half a cup of cool water. And now we're going to add our citric acid powder, which we need 2 1/4 teaspoons. This kind of looks like sugar or salt, but don't get it mixed up because if you touch it to your tongue, you will have puckery lips. It's very, very tart. So we need 2 1/4 of those. And you need to stir this up really well to make sure it's dissolved before you add it to your milk. We don't add it to the milk while it's warmed up because that would curdle instantly. We wouldn't want that to happen. So there you go. And now we're going to add our citric acid to our milk. And for this, you're also going to need something to stir it with. So we're going to pour this in, stirring while we're doing it, and then give it a good stir to make sure it's thoroughly mixed in. And then we're ready to put it into our pot. And now we're ready to put our milk into our preheated double boiler pot so that we can warm the milk up to 88 degrees. We need to hang our thermometer on the side so that we can monitor the temperature. And we're just going to leave it in here in the double vat system long enough to get it up to 88 degrees. Now that the curds have reached 88 degrees, we need to give them a quick stir so that we make sure the temperature is the same throughout. And then we're going to remove it from the heat. And we're going to add the rennet. For this, you will need 1/3 cup of water, a 1/2 teaspoon of rennet, and remember this is the liquid so it mixes very quickly and easily. Give it a good stir and then add it to the milk. Get my spoon, which is on the other side. A southpaw I am, you know. And we're going to stir this in. Give it a good stir for about 30 seconds, maybe even a little bit less, just to make sure it's thoroughly mixed. Don't need the thermometer in there now. And then stop. Don't stir it anymore. Now we need to let it set for 15 minutes to coagulate. So let's put a lid on so that we make sure that the milk doesn't get contaminated by the air and so forth, and set our timer. In 15 minutes, we'll come back and cut the curds. Our 15 minutes is up, and it's time for us to check the curd and see if it's ready to cut. How we do this is we dip our finger in and pull up, and when it cleanly breaks over your finger, then you know that it's ready to cut. Yes, it doesn't stick to your finger comes up, it's perfect. So let's cut the curds. You start in the middle because it kind of slides around and you can do a better job. So you want to cut them in one direction. See how they kind of swirl around in the pot? And then come back and cut them the other direction in about 1-inch cubes. Don't really be too concerned about whether you have the exact size or not, because we'll come back later and break up all the curds that happen to stay a little bit bigger. A couple of sideways cuts like this, and we're ready to put the curds into a pot, and we need to warm them up to 108 degrees. So we have our pot over here already warming. I'm going to lift them into there. Let's put the thermometer in once again and wait for our temperature to reach 108 degrees. Now that we've slowly brought our curds up to 108 degrees, we're ready to remove them from the heat. We want to take out the thermometer and give them a quick stir throughout. And we're going to need to stir them about every 5 to 10 minutes to keep the curds from matting together. Put a lid on the pot and set our timer. And in 35 minutes, we'll be ready to drain them. Now that our pot of curds has reached 108 degrees and we've held it there for 35 minutes and our time is up, we're ready to drain our cheese. So let's go over to the sink where I already have a cheesecloth lined colander, and I'm going to set it in the sink because this can catch all of our whey. And we're going to pour the curds into this lined colander. You're going to pour gently so it doesn't slop back up on you too much. Let the whey drain down just a little bit so I can add the rest. Fantastic. You can already see how the curds have formed. It's going to be beautiful mozzarella. Now we're going to let this drain for 15 minutes and then we're going to come back to it and stretch the curds. Now that our curds have completely drained, we're going to come over here and take them out of the sink. And we're ready to put them on a plate and begin the stretching process. Now for this, we are going to put about 1 cup size at a time. You don't want to put any more than that because it's a lot harder to stretch them if you do that. And we're going to add some salt, about a 1/2 teaspoon per cup. I like to salt my cheese at about 1 teaspoon per pound. Compare this to the store-bought version, which usually has close to 3 teaspoons per pound. So you're really making a lightly salted cheese that's delicious and saves you on the sodium. Now we need to put it into the microwave for 55 seconds. Now, you do need to be careful because microwaves do vary in their temperature and speed, and so you might have to adjust this time up or down a little depending on how strong your microwave is. Let's take it out. And we need to mix it around with a spoon. You're going to want to use a spoon because the curds are too hot to handle at first. So you're going to do it like you were kneading bread dough and press it into itself. And then when it gets cool enough for you to handle it with your hands, you can pick it up. So let's stretch it. You're going to see this amazing transformation come about as I'm working the curds. I think mozzarella is one of my favorite cheeses to make because it's just so fun to watch the curds stretch and to watch them make this amazing transformation from curds into a nice shiny ball that you recognize as mozzarella. As you can see, you can already see the difference. And then we need to put it in for just a few seconds more for the final heat treat, and then you're going to see this beautiful stretch that comes from it. Okay. Let's put it in for just a few more seconds. It's looking really good. This microwave is pretty powerful, so I'm going to cut that time down just a little bit. And then you're going to see me stretch these curds, the funnest part of all. All right. Again, you need to use your spoon, because this is when the curds really start to get melted and hot. Ah, they're beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Now, just to show you how beautiful the stretch is coming along on this, let's do some. Oh, this is where you really get to enjoy your mozzarella cheese. Now, have you ever seen stretch so beautiful? Absolutely gorgeous. That's mozzarella. Let's shape it into a ball before it cools very quickly. You need to work kind of fast at this point because you don't want it to be overworked, and it does cool down fairly quickly. And I have a pot or a little jar of ice water here that I can put it into to hold its shape. Now that is beautiful mozzarella cheese. Hi, I'm Mary Jane Toth, author of A Cheesemaker's Journey, and I'd like to tell you about something exciting that's happening at HagerFarmYard.com. I'd like to invite you to become part of our online cheese making community. You're going to find helpful articles, recipes, and videos, and even a forum on there where you can post cheese making questions. I'm very excited to be part of this adventure, and I look forward to helping you be successful in your own cheese making journey.